Hi everybody, my name is Anne, and I have news for you. There's a 99.9% chance that you're a man. So don't worry, I'm not going to try to change that, but I did want to mention that because that statistic, or it's actually gotten more extreme over time to my surprise, but that statistic is what has kind of led me to make this video. Until I read that, I never looked around and noticed that women don't really ever carry multi-tools. Hardly ever. And it was surprising to me. I had just never noticed that. It had never crossed my mind. So of course my first question was, why? I carry my Swiss Champ like literally all the time, and I find uses for it literally multiple times a day. I probably use this 5 times a day for one thing or another. And sometimes it's just really great because a task that I would not have completed, I now actually both started and completed because I happen to have the tool like right on my person at the time. It is a great productivity option to have the tool with you all the time. Why would women not be interested in this? Well, I put a little thought into this. I want to say I'm going to be talking from some notes today, and there's going to be a lot of generalizations in this, and I really am concerned that people are going to be offended by things that I say. In fact, I think there's an extremely high probability that you personally will be offended by at least one thing I say here. Just know that nothing I'm saying is like my set in stone belief. I actually am happy and eager to change my mind, and you are more than welcome to post something to try to convince me otherwise in the comment section below. I will definitely engage with anything that's, appropriate, because I think that's how we grow, and I think this is a delicate topic, and it's delicate for reasons, and I don't even know what all those reasons are. So why do women not like multi-tools? My first thought was marketing. Have you ever seen a video marketing a multi-tool to a woman? I kind of don't think I ever have. But as I thought about it more, I thought, actually, what would they market? Because they don't really have anything pretty. Women are drawn to beauty, and this is a controversial statement, but at times, women will choose beauty over function. And I think that's true. If you think that's true, mention it in the comments below. I think that I've seen myself and lots of other women choose beauty over function. And I think the reason for me is because I get such a good feeling about using a object that is beautiful. It makes me feel good on the inside that a merely functional object won't. So if there's an object that will probably get the job done, but it looks great, there's a chance I will pick that over the object that will get the job done and has a kind of icky appearance. This sometimes is surprising. I saw a man posted online that there was a woman in his life, I don't know, daughter, sister, wife, girlfriend, I don't know, but he took her to a Victorinox flagship store, and he told her, I will buy you any Swiss Army knife you want in the store. And she went for a classic SD because it had pretty scales. Oh my goodness, to me, well, I don't particularly, okay, next controversial thing, I don't love the tool set on the classic SD. I just don't. I feel like it's kind of too in between of everything. I would really rather have a Rambler or a classic than the classic SD, but okay. We don't have to get into that. The point is she chose a smaller, less functional tool, even though he was buying it as a gift because it was more beautiful. And while half of me feels a little critical of that decision, half of me is like, I totally understand, because that drive to be around beautiful things is actually really strong. Now, I put some thought into this, especially after Rich from True Budget EDC and Prepping made a video about art in EDC. He really appreciates art and beautiful things, but I don't think that we think the same things are beautiful. Like, he likes his knives that he says are mostly like black and bead blasted or black and silver or whatever. I can't even remember. He's like, my wife thinks they all look the same. I can almost guarantee you I would feel the same way as well. Unless the blade shape is really notable for some reason, I'm not going to get excited about a black and silver looking knife. I'm just not, because it's boring. And if you put different color scales on it, then I might be more excited. If there was, scales with a flower imprinted on it, I would be really excited about that. But I just couldn't get excited about that particular appearance because it's not my style. But if you think about it, most multi-tools are kind of made in a more masculine style, and they're not really made in a more feminine style. And I know that division is a little bit arbitrary. What is pretty to women? I have a few thoughts, and I hope that you will comment because these are just my thoughts. Let's compare a 91 versus an 84 millimeter Swiss Army knife. So this one, the smaller one, I think is cuter. It is approximately the same width as this one, but it's shorter, and that makes it look more cute. Women are drawn to cuteness more than men are. So now here I've got the 84 and 85 millimeter knives together. And this is an evolution. So the shape is totally different. The color is the same, but the shape is totally different. Which one is cuter? This one, it's way cuter. And if you have a hard time seeing which one is cuter, think about a Pudgy Baby's pudgy arm, which is extremely cute. Which one looks more like the Pudgy Baby's pudgy arm? This one. It is rounder, it is curvier, it is wider in comparison to the length than this one over here. And it really gives it a much cuter appearance. That is, I think, part of what's appealing about this shape to me, and probably to women in general, because women do have a, like, legitimately documented by scientific study greater draw to cuteness than men do. Although many, I mean, really everybody is drawn to cuteness. It's part of why we want to take care of baby humans and even other baby animals, because they're cute. It's a thing. Now, let's talk a little bit about color. Here we've got the Evogrip S18. This is a really pretty knife. I think, okay, no, I lied. It's the Evogrip 18. For some reason, I somehow got through eBay an Evogrip 18 with yellow scales, so I don't think I can explain that very easily. But if you look at this, these really say something different about the owner. This owner is vibrant, fun, possibly young, and definitely sporty. This owner could be anything. It's a very neutral palette, I think. And this one just gives a particular impression. And so I think that this is a little bit more appealing look. Now, I want to mention one other thing that I don't think is related to women in particular, but I think it's called the golden ratio, 1 to 1.6. I measured this, and if you go from the top to here, that is 1, and this is 1.6. So this is a ratio which is naturally beautiful to basically all humans appreciate things that are divided in that ratio. And yeah, so this is one of them. I'm sure it was designed on purpose for that, which tells me that when they were designing these evolution scales, they put like beauty and that kind of appearance question into their calculations. Let's talk about color. Now, I want to look at color from the negative perspective instead of the positive perspective. I will say men and women do prefer different colors, just like we, might prefer different styles as well. I think women prefer more springtime colors and men prefer some other colors. If you watch the video of maxLVLEDC, where he goes and opens the Fantasticar, I think it's called the 14-in-1 multi-tool. It's mint green. He just can't get over how much he dislikes the color. And honestly, I think the other two colors are purple and pink. So I think that he chose that color as the best option, but he just hated it. And he's like, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. Men, that is how we women feel about a lot of the multi-tool options that are out there. They're just not appealing. They are almost like I feel like when he's looking at those multi-tools, he's like, this is just not for me. This is not the color for me. I would absolutely choose something else. I bet there's no chance he would bring that out somewhere when other people would see him with it, unless he could be like, I'm testing this tool, right? And women feel the same way. Like, if I have something that looks really masculine and I bring it out somewhere, people do kind of look at me funny. And so I think that is an issue, and color is a huge signal on who you're trying to be or what message you're trying to send, or even kind of whether you belong when it comes to your tool and the setting you're in. So I think color really is an issue. And I think Leatherman has done something fairly interesting with this, the Leatherman Free T4, because this color I think is not probably appealing to men or women, but I do not think it is probably objectionable to either one. I found the best of the options that were available. It is a solidly okay choice, and I often can, if I really work at it, open the one-handed opening blade. Oh yeah, with one hand. And I'm going to come back to this tool in a minute, but I think it is notable for the color choice being non-repulsive to everyone. It's fine. It's a fine color. Okay, let's talk about design. Swiza has done an interesting thing. So they have some scales that are really pretty. Now Victorinox has some pretty scales too, but they just haven't made them very widely available. It seems like it's a little bit easier to find Swiza scales either in girl colors or in fancy patterns. And I do, if you have a Swiss Army knife that you would like to put more feminine scales on, I do encourage you to take a look at Heidi Shop or some other places that have some decorated options that are actually really cute. But I think if you look at this, you can see that they've got a pastoral scene with a family doing stuff outside, and it really just is lovely. I think this is made specifically to appeal to women, and I'll be interested to see if this takes hold, and I'm going to suspect that it doesn't. Okay, because I think both Victorinox and Leatherman have, if you look back at some of their offerings, they have put things out there that should be more appealing to women, and they've discontinued them all. I think it doesn't work. I think just making a multi-tool that looks pretty to women is not successful at selling that product. And Fantasticar is testing that, I think, right now, because they really have a female-friendly look across their products. And they have a female-friendly lineup, too, with some different craft knives and things that are available there. I've never tried any of their products. I have no idea if they're good, but I am subject to Amazon advertising. Let's talk about another factor that is important to women that is rarely mentioned, and I want to thank David C. Anderson from the Knife Center for pointing this out. The Leatherman Free T4 is fantastic for accessing even if you have wet nail polish, because you guys, women spend sometimes a lot of money, sometimes a lot of time on their nails, and you don't want to ruin that. If you don't already see the Swiss Champ as an essential part of your everyday carry, you are not going to want to ruin your gorgeous new nails just to use it, right? So this provides the best answer I have found to that, because literally my nails could still be wet with nail polish and I could use any of these tools. I could get them apart and go ahead and use them and then put them back. I can access all of the functions no problem without using my nails or touching my nails to anything at all. They will not have to get destroyed by using this. And that is a really nice female-friendly feature. It really is, because a lot of women do their nails, but even with gel nail polish, you're going to have some problems if you try to use a Swiss Army knife. It is very likely to get chipped or get like rubbed off or whatever. Swiza has tackled the same problem in a different way that is a little bit more minimalistic. So it functions like a Swiss Army knife. They call this a Swiss knife since it was never sold to the Swiss Army. But you can access these functions with just like the pad of your finger, and you don't really have to use your nails at all. Now, one problem is the knife is locking, which is not a problem for me where I live, but is a problem for people in some areas. I didn't get this knife for the knife set. I actually have virtually no desire to own a Swiza knife, except that this one is really pretty. There are some really, really beautiful Swiza scales available, but they seem to only be available in Europe or maybe even in Switzerland. I wasn't able to get any shipped at any kind of reasonable cost to me here. But if you are looking for something with a really beautiful design on here, I think there's something called Winterbird. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, so nails are an issue though, and both of those are some good options for protecting your nails if you are a woman and you want to use a Swiss Army knife. So let's kind of review where we are. I noticed I had overwhelmingly male viewership on the channel. Then I realized that women don't like multi-tools, but you'd think I was totally disconnected from reality to not have known that. Then I thought maybe it's the marketing. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe it's because there aren't any pretty Swiss Army knives. That I was ready to get on here and say, Victorinox, what are you doing? You've got to make pretty Swiss Army knives. But they actually have. And it doesn't seem to go anywhere. There was Pink Alox was the color of the year, I think, in 2015. It just doesn't seem to take off. So, I put some more thought into this. Does it matter? I thought, what would somebody say if I said to them, women don't like Swiss Army knives? They'd be like, so? Who cares if women like Swiss Army knives or if women like multi-tools? I think that it does actually matter, and I have like two basic reasons here. One, tools are a fundamental part of what it means to be human. And obviously multi-tools are not the only tools, but just kind of go with me here. Tools are a fundamental part of what it means to be human. If you are a person that believes that God created the world and created people in his image, then if we are people in his image, we should be creating and making and, fixing things that are broken out in the world. If you are a person who believes that we evolved, then tools are what separates us from other primates and has allowed us to produce all of this stuff that we've made here, and these societies that we've built is based on our ability to use tools. So either way, tools are fundamental to what it means to be human, and women are equal inheritors in that legacy of being human. Women use tools all the time. We even have beauty tools are named after that. We've got kitchen tools are used all the time, and we use a whole variety of tools in all of our jobs and tasks that we do inside and outside the home, for children, for ourselves, and for our families, and for other people in the community. It's like women shouldn't be separated from tools, so why do they not want multi-tools? Next, I would say multi-tools are, I've thought about this for a while, I'm going to use this one. They are a physical symbol of an agreement that you make with the world to make it a better place, to help people, to improve things, to fix things. This is not just, when you put this in your pocket because you're going to use it at work today, okay, that's one thing. When you put this in your pocket because you don't know what the day holds, but you want to be ready to handle whatever comes at you, that suggests a certain, desire to live in a particular positive, helpful, and good way that I really admire. And that's probably reflected in all of the really nice Swiss Army YouTubers that you can see out there. I just have to say, I never mentioned Swiss Army Dan, who's so amazing, or, the guy with the bear, whatever, you know who I'm talking about. He's got the little symbol with the bear and the Swiss Army knife thing. I love those guys. They're super nice, super entertaining, super knowledgeable, and just really pleasant, helpful kind of people. And I think that that actually is the mentality that you're choosing when you put this in your pocket. And I think that applies to multi-tools as well, if you're putting it in your pocket and you don't know what's coming that day. So these are good things, and things that we want to spread throughout our society, and things that are certainly applicable to women. So why then are women uninterested in multi-tools? So I was going to have to stop the video here, and the reason I'm making this video today is because Conan from Conans EDC put a comment or a question in the comment section. And I think this is so cute. He's upgrading his 8-year-old's EDC. She however, on her new Swiss Army knife, she only wants pink scales. And he's like, do you know where I can get pink scales? Oh my gosh, I love it. That is just the cutest thing. And actually, there are some places to get pink scales. I will link them in the note below, but if you want a 91mm with pink scales, you're going to have to not go pure pink, or you'd have to go with like a secondary manufacturer. But anyway, the point is, she apparently must be interested in having her Swiss Army knife, but she is kind of limited by her color choices because that's just what she thinks is cool at this stage in her development. And is that a problem? Has she falsely limited herself away from having a good multi-tool? No! She should get to be herself and have a Swiss Army knife. Like, those should not be competing things. She loves pink. There is no conceivable reason we shouldn't have pink Swiss Army knives. And I actually think that we specifically should have pink Swiss Army knives for this reason. I'm going to my notes a little bit. If you are a Swiss Army knife person in particular, or just a multi-tool person in general, but you probably had a positive experience in your youth with a Swiss Army knife of some sort. I didn't, because that wasn't part of... My parents were amazing. My dad taught me to solder when I was 4, but sending me out on my own with a knife was not a thing. And so I didn't have that experience. I saw my dad use his Swiss Army knife, and it was like the symbol of dad can fix everything. It was amazing to me, and I was very happy to get one when I was, old enough to make my own choices. But prior to that, and actually, if I found it today, I'm still not sure he would let me touch his Swiss Army knife. That is dad's property. But the point is, if you had a great experience with a multi-tool as a kid, it probably affected your desire to have a multi-tool as an adult. It probably caused you to feel more competent with that type of tool. And if you didn't have that, you may feel a little bit intimidated. You're probably not watching this video, but you can imagine if you didn't have any experience with a Swiss Army knife or a multi-tool in your youth, you might feel a tiny bit intimidated. Like, do I know how to use these tools? Is it okay that I'm using this tool for the wrong purpose? What if I stab myself with the awl? How sharp is this thing supposed to be anyway? So you want kids to have that experience so that they can feel confident. And if you want women to use multi-tools, which I would say everybody should want that, because the more consumers we have for this product or this kind of types of products in which we're interested, the more there will be motivation to have more innovation, more companies coming in, more time and energy put into making better and cooler tools, right? So we really should want as many people as possible to be interested in and purchasing these items. But if it looks to girls who might be like, I like pink and all my friends like pink, teal, or purple, and that is like a phase that happens, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, and you can stay in that phase. I'm kind of in that phase. I love purple and teal. Not the biggest pink girl, but the point is, if all the colors that you like are not on any multi-tools, and all the colors your friends who are girls like are not on any multi-tools, you'll feel like this is not really for me. This is clearly for boys. And you will become disconnected from that. And that is what I suspect is the reason that women do not like multi-tools. I think they aren't into multi-tools because while they can see it's kind of functional, they don't have that innate feeling when they pick up a Swiss Army knife of being like, ooh, now I can do anything. They probably, if they didn't have a good experience with it in the past, might feel like, well, you know, I'm sure I can figure out how to use these things at some point. But there's not enough of a motivation to need to do that, you know? With purses, you can put a scissors or a knife or whatever you want into your purse and carry it with you. And even with young women carrying smaller purses, you can still fit quite a bit of things in there that you would actually use in your everyday carry, meaning that this isn't really essential. It's just like the bonus. It's your superpower. And by not having it, you kind of lose out on that. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Getting kids, especially, I'm going to say especially girls, just because, not that I think girls should be more involved in having a multi-tool than boys. I think there's probably a decent number, probably of both, but probably a decent number of girls that just aren't going to have any interest in tools. And that's fine. But for ones that do, I don't want them to be screened out by not having the right color or not having the right opportunities to learn how to do things with them or how to be creative with a tool like that. This is like the perfect tool to be creative with. By opening up multi-tools to kids more and more, we're going to see that more of these people continue to use these tools as adults. We'll see more development and more innovation in the multi-tool field, and that's going to be good for all of us. Thank you so much for watching. Please do put your comments in the section, in the comment section down below. I want to take a special minute to say that although all of my viewers are men and not the same as me, you have been you've been very kind and welcoming to me at all times, and I really appreciate it. That is not a universal experience for women dealing with a crowd of apparently 99.9% men, and I really appreciate your kindness. Thank you so much.